Here on this 2018 Toyota Prius, we'll be having a look at and showing you how to install the Curt T connector vehicle wiring harness with a 4-pole flat trailer connector, part number C56353. Here's what our wiring looks like installed. When we want to use it, we can remove it from the vehicle, drape it over our weather stripping here, making sure we avoid the latch for our trunk so it doesn't get pinched, and we can close the trunk over it. As you see, we have an adequate length wire to reach down by the receiver on our hitch. Now, this wiring harness gives you the basic lighting functions that are required by law in order for you to safely and legally tow your trailer. This white wire here provides the necessary ground connection between your Prius and your trailer. The brown wire provides your tail light and running light signal. And on that circuit, we have a total power output of 6 amps, which is more than sufficient to tow a small trailer with several incandescent tail lights, or basically as many LED lights as you want without any issue, because LED lights do draw less power. The yellow wires are left turn signal and left brake light. The green wire is our right turn signal and right brake light. And on both of these wires, we have a total power output of 3 amps per side. So you'll want to limit yourself to about 2 incandescent light bulbs. You can run more LED lights without a problem. We also have this nice dust cover that's provided to help protect it when it's not in use, even though it is stored inside the vehicle. Well, one thing I do recommend doing is taking some dielectric grease, which you have available on our website, placing it inside the connector. This will just better help prevent any corrosion from occurring. Then you can take your dust cover and close it over the connector. And when we're done towing our trailer and we want to store this, it's quite simple. You open our hatch up, we'll lift up on our spare tire tool cover, stick it inside, and it's out of the way, and we don't have to worry about it getting snagged in any cargo as we're loading them in and out of our hatch area. Now, one thing that's really great about this wiring harness is that this wiring harness will plug and play with your vehicle's factory tail light connectors. So you don't have to worry about doing any cutting or splicing, and it works perfectly. Now that we've gone over some features, we'll show you how to get it installed. To begin our install, we're going to open our rear hatch. Now we'll remove all of our floor coverings. Now we'll remove our cargo tie-down points on our threshold. Now we'll remove the 10mm bolt that holds these hooks in place. Now we'll grab our threshold, lift up, and set it aside. Now on our driver's side, just behind our rear seat, we have a cargo tie-down point that we need to remove. There's a tab on the bottom. We press in with a small flathead screwdriver. We can pull and release at the same time. Keep in mind, everything we do on one side, we'll repeat on the other side. Now at the back of our upper panel, right in front of our tail light, we have a 10mm screw to remove. With our fasteners removed on our upper panel, we can now grab it and pull towards the center of the vehicle. Now give ourselves a little bit more room. We're going to unplug this light here. So as you use a screwdriver to press down the tab and pull back. Now here's the wiring harness coming from our tail light. Goes to this connector here. We'll grab this connector, pull back, flip it over. We have access to the tab that locks it together. We'll press down the tab and pull back to separate. Now we'll take our connectors with the yellow wire and we'll plug in the matching ends. Now we'll take our connectors with the green wire, bring it over from our module on the driver's side, over our threshold here in the back, go behind our panel on our passenger side, and here's our passenger side connector. We'll just pull that off again, like we did on the driver's side. Press in on this tab here to separate. And we'll make our connections. Now the black wire that comes off our module, we'll take one of our butt connectors, stick over the wire, and we'll crimp it down. Take one of the ends of a roll of black wire, strip off some insulation, place that inside the butt connector, and we'll crimp that as well. Now we'll take some electrical tape and wrap up our butt connection here just to give it a little more protection. Now on the left side of our trunk pan, towards the bumper, we have a grommet right here. We're going to grab this grommet, just kind of pull it out of the vehicle, just like that. We'll feed our power wire through that hole. Now we'll take our connector here that has our brown and our red wire on it, and we'll feed it through that same hole where we pulled the grommet out through. Now underneath the vehicle, we need to remove this center panel here in order to gain access to one of our connectors. We have a few plastic push pin fasteners just like this one. The way these work, you use a flathead screwdriver, pop out the center section, and pull straight down and remove the entire pin. We have a screw style fastener here. You use a flathead screwdriver, and just twist it, and it'll come down. Then we can pull down the entire panel and set it aside. Now here's the hole where our wires came through. We'll go ahead and just grab our wires and pull them down. Now if we look basically straight up above our grommet, we'll find a connector that's clipped to the trunk pan there. So we'll grab that connector and pull it down so we can access it. We separated that connector by pressing on this tab here and pulling the connector apart. Now we'll take our connector, find the corresponding end, match them up, press together until it locks into place, and we'll do the same for the other end. And here's what it looks like connected. Now we need to ground our wiring harness. We're going to do that to the factory ground point on the driver's side by removing this 10mm bolt. Now we'll take the white wire with the ring terminal off of our module, take the bolt that we removed, go through the ring terminal, and reinstall the bolt into the factory location. And we'll tighten it back down. Now we'll take our module, flip it over till we have this raised part. We'll take our double-sided tape, peel off one side, press it onto the raised part. We've already cleaned off an area with some rubbing alcohol on the inside where we're going to stick this. And I'll stick it there now and show you where we stuck it once we're done. We have a flange that sticks down in front of the driver's side tail light, and we stuck it to that. Okay, with all of our connections made to our tail light connectors, we can reinstall our side panels at this time. Now we'll take our grommet that we pulled out and we'll cut a notch in it, take our wires that we fed through that hole, place them through the notch, and we'll reinstall the grommet. Now we'll take the provided silicone sealant and seal around that notch so we don't have to worry about any moisture or exhaust fumes getting inside our vehicle. It's the only place we're going to need this, so don't be afraid to use all of it. Now we'll reinstall our threshold, making sure our green wire that goes over to our passenger side is hidden behind it. Our wiring for the 4-pole flat will just rest on top of this. Okay, our power wire for our module, we routed towards the front of the vehicle, went behind our driver's side panel here, went above our rear subframe, making sure we avoided any moving parts and sources of heat, goes along the shielding for our fuel tank here and our rear suspension. Then it goes underneath this shielding here, continues all the way to the front, where it comes out right where our firewall starts to meet the floor. Now we can reinstall our center panel. And we drop down a pull wire from our engine compartment, and now we'll bring this wire up into our engine bay. We went ahead and secured our wire with one of the zip ties up to this wiring harness here, which goes to this computer module. Measure off about how much we're going to need, cut off the excess, strip back some insulation, take our butt connector, stick it over the wire, crimp it in place, take our fuse holder here, strip off a little more insulation, stick that in the other end, we'll crimp it. Other end of our fuse holder, we'll strip off some insulation, take our ring terminal, place it over the wire, and we'll crimp it. We went ahead and taped up our butt connector just like we did before. Now we need to attach our ring terminal to the positive battery post, which is underneath this cover here. So we'll flip it open and pull to remove the entire section. Now we're going to remove this nut. It's a 12mm nut. Take our ring terminal, place it over that stud, and reinstall the nut. Now we can take our cover here and slide it back into place. Now we'll take our provided fuse and stick it in the fuse holder. And we'll close our dust cover over it. And now we'll test out our wiring using a 4-pole flat tester, which we have available on our website as part number I26. Start by turning on our headlights. And as you can see, our tail light and running light function's working. Now we'll do a left turn signal. That's working. Do a right turn signal. That's working. And we'll step on our brake pedal here and see our brake lights are working. And with our foot on the brake, we'll go through our turn signals again to ensure that everything's working properly. And as you can see, everything's working just like it's supposed to. And that completes our look at and showing you how to install the Curt T connector vehicle wiring harness with a 4-pole flat trailer connector, part number C56353 on this 2018 Toyota Prius.